This is Geometry Lesson 1-1. Sorry guys that I couldn't be there again today. Riley's still sick. So this year is going to be very similar to last year in terms of taking the notes and updating our unit guide. So here's our unit guide for Geometry Foundations. It is a big unit. It's one of the biggest units in the entire mathematics curriculum. So in all 4 years that you're going to be here. You'll see that today we have 3 assignments on Khan Academy. Notice that Khan Academy looks a little bit different, but it's still kind of cool. Anything new? Oh yeah, taking notes is going to be a little bit updated at the very end, but let's jump right into this. So, raised lines, line segments, points, and planes. There's a lot of stuff in that title. So our objective today is to draw and identify raised lines, line segments, points, and planes. Okay, so rays versus line segments. By the way, I should mention that you should have this in front of you along with a ruler. So if you don't have a ruler, please grab that now. You'll be using it for the entire lesson aside from the homework. Homework is all on Khan Academy. So what is a ray? A ray looks like this. It has an end point, and then there's a line that goes out from that ray somewhere. Forever and ever. So you can have as many points as you want on this line. There's only one endpoint. There's an infinite amount of points, and it goes on forever and ever. What does a line look like? So a line looks like this. You're probably thinking, Mr. Sandell, I know what a line looks like. Most of you are probably thinking something that looks like that. And you are actually incorrect. That is not a line. This is now a line. It has arrows on both ends. Again, you can have as many points in here as you want. It has an infinite amount of points. But the key thing is that it has arrows on both ends. It goes forever to the left, forever to the right. Well, not necessarily left and right, but forever on both ends. A line segment, that's probably what we're most familiar with. Here's a line segment. This is a line segment because it has 2 endpoints. It does not go forever and ever. All right, so array, endpoints. It has 1 endpoint, and it goes forever in 1 direction. A line has no endpoints and goes forever in 2 directions, and you can probably see where I'm going with this. This has 2 endpoints and goes forever in no directions. It doesn't go on forever and ever. It doesn't have any arrows. All right, seems pretty straightforward. Let's go to example 1. Try it out. Get your ruler. Well, I mean, you should have been using a ruler for these 3, but get your ruler and draw a ray so that it has an endpoint at B and goes through A. Then fill in these blanks below, down here, these 2 statements. All right, so hopefully you're pausing the video now, right? You're pausing. All right, you've unpaused it. Your ray should look like this. Ooh, wrong color. Let's use blue. She starts at B, goes through A, and goes out here forever and ever and ever and ever. It has to have an arrow on one end, not an arrow on the other. This is an endpoint at B. All right, this is a ray because it has 1 endpoint there at B, and it continues forever in 1 direction. I mean, it's just based on our table below, or above, sorry. Naming. So this can be a little bit confusing, but lines are always defined by exactly 2 points. Not 3, not 1, not 10, exactly 2 points. So how do I say line segment AB? Line segment AB, well, I write out AB, and I do a line above it. Pretty straightforward. Well, how does that differ from line AB? Again, line segment has 2 endpoints. A line goes on forever and ever. Well, line AB is very similar, capital A, capital B, with a line above it, but arrows, because it's a line. It matches up with our picture. Line has arrows, line segment doesn't. Line has no arrows, line doesn't. I'm not speaking right. Line has arrows, line segment does not have arrows. There we go. I said it correctly. Whew. All right. This is what happens when you record videos at 2 in the morning. Collinear. Say it with me. Say it out loud and make everyone stare at you. Collinear. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Collinear. If no one spoke out loud while watching this, I'm going to be very sad. So, points that are on the same, take a guess here. Points that are on the same, this word right here, line. That's the definition of collinear. So if you have this many points, it's always collinear. 2. It doesn't matter what points they are. And you'll be seeing these diagrams on Khan Academy. I could choose this point and this point. It doesn't matter where they are. As long as you have 2, they are always, always, always collinear. But if I have 3 or more points, then they're only collinear if they are all on the same line. So that's the trick. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time to think about this, and then we're going to go to a new word, but we're eventually going to play with this idea of collinear naming lines and coplanar. So we're on the back now, coplanar. Again, coplanar, you need to say it with me. So coplanar on 3. 1, 2, 3, coplanar. All right. Points that are on the same, take a guess, take a guess. It's using that word-ish, kind of. It's on the same plane. In mathematics, a line is in, I guess, 1 dimension, and a plane is 2 dimensions. Imagine that you're on like a card or something. That would be a plane. So very similar to the last one, where 2 points were always collinear. How many points are always coplanar? Take a guess, take a guess. 3. 3 points are always coplanar, and then if you have 4 or more points, you need to check that they are all on the same, you probably guessed it, plane. So here's an example. You can see that this is the plane, that little parallelogram. It's supposed to represent a 3-dimensional object. There's a plane. Think of like a playing card with like a toothpick stabbing through it. Also a toothpick that's glued down to the playing card that's on the same plane as the playing card. That's how I visualize what's happening here. All right. What is another way to name line L? There's line L. How can I name it? So I'll give you one. You're not allowed to use this. I mean, you can write it in your notes, but I need another one. One thing that I could say is A, B, with a line with arrows on it. That's one way to do it. Try another one. Pause the video right now. Try another one. All right, you've unpaused the video. Here are all the possibilities. You could also say AM with a line with arrows above it. You could say line BM. And finally, you could say, oh no, that's it. I mean, you could say them the other way too. It doesn't matter. You could say like BA. That's also fine. You could reverse the letters. So I could say MA or MB. Those are all fine as long as you have the arrow above it, not the line segment above it. All right, next question. Are I and M collinear? Well, there's I, there's M. They don't seem to be on the same line. Oh, wait. If I have 2 points, they are always collinear. So I have how many points? 2 points. 2 points are always collinear, so the answer here is yes. Yes, those are collinear because it doesn't matter. If you have 2 points, they're definitely collinear. But let's try 3 points now. Are A, B, and O collinear? Let's look at it. A, B, and O. Okay, those are not collinear because they're not on the same line. If I would have done A, B, M, that would be on the same line. Or if I did B, I, well, those are always collinear, but yeah. Things that are on the same line are collinear, so this one is no. Those were not on the same line. Ooh, coplanar. So things that are on the plane. I, B, and M. So I, B, and M. Well, it looks like I is not on this plane card, this plane. So is it coplanar? The answer is yes, because I have 3 points. 3 points is always coplanar. It doesn't even matter where they are in the picture. If I have 3, it's always coplanar. So let me undo those circles. The answer here is yes. What about O, A, B, and M? O, A, B, and M. Well, again, A, B, M, this is kind of like the toothpick that is glued to the plane, to the playing card, and then O is also on the playing card. So all 4 of these are attached to the playing card, which is the plane. So all 4 of those are on the plane. The answer here is yes. All right, that concludes the notes, but the end of the notes is a little bit different than last year. Do not do the summary. I repeat, do not do the summary in class. What I want you to do is always have homework and do the summary at home. You might have heard it in other classes to Cornell your notes. That's what I want you guys to do. on top of the Khan Academy homework that you have. So Khan Academy homework, you can do that in class. I'm totally okay with that. But for this summary, you need to do it at home. And if you want to add to your notes, ask questions, do anything else while you Cornell your notes, highlight, underline, etc., etc., that is your homework. But the main thing is make sure you show me that you have a summary that is not done in class by the next day. So that would be Thursday, which I should theoretically be back. No, sorry, today's Tuesday, so Wednesday. I will be back Wednesday checking off your summary that you did not do in class. So you might be wondering why Mr. Sindel said, do not do the summary, and here is the reason. It's called the rate of forgetting. You will get this handout when I come back. So let's pretend we did the notes. So we are right here. We just did the notes. We're on this line. So after 18 minutes, we've already forgotten half of the stuff that I just taught. Within one day, I'm down here to 42, 43%. Within 7 days, I'm down here to like 35-ish%. That's only doing the notes. But what happens if within 18 minutes I do some review like Khan Academy? Then I jump back up here to this line. So if I do notes and then Khan Academy, then I stay on this line. And within one day, I've remembered 70%. Within 7 days, I've remembered 60%. So that's reviewing twice. I'm on this curve. But if I do review 3 times, then I'm on this curve. Then this review may be doing the summary or Cornelling my notes. Then I'll be on this line. This line means that within 7 days, I'll remember 80%. You're shooting for B here. And then you're stay on this line. But what if I review again? What if Mr. Sindel, for example, gives me a quiz or gives me a test or makes me do flashcards on Quizlet? All of this constant review with time to forget in between will get you on these higher curves so you can't forget as much. Notice that when you're on these curves that are the 1 to 3rd time reviewing out here, this curve right here, you never really go below 80%. You can't really get a C if you review that 3rd time correctly. So that is the curve of forgetting, the rate of forgetting, which is make sure you have time to forget and then review. Time to forget and then review. All right, that concludes today's lesson. So what you're doing right now, just as a review, is you're going to Khan Academy and you're doing these lessons as you get the 100%, you're going back to your unit guide and entering if you got 100% or whatever. And again, don't type the percent, just the number. So you might be wondering why Mr. Sindel said, do not do the summary, and here is the reason. It's called the rate of forgetting. You will get this handout when I come back. So let's pretend we did the notes. So we are right here. We just did the notes, we're on this line. So after 18 minutes, we've already forgotten half of the stuff that I just taught. Within one day, I'm down here to 42, 43%. Within 7 days, I'm down here to like 35-ish%. That's only doing the notes. But what happens if within 18 minutes I do some review like Khan Academy? Then I jump back up here to this line. So if I do notes and then Khan Academy, then I stay on this line. And within one day, I've remembered 70%. Within 7 days, I've remembered 60%. So that's reviewing twice. I'm on this curve. But if I do review 3 times, then I'm on this curve. Then this review may be doing the summary or Cornelling my notes. Then I'll be on this line. This line means that within 7 days, I'll remember 80%. You're shooting for B here. And then you stay on this line. But what if I review again? What if Mr. Sindel, for example, gives me a quiz or gives me a test or makes me do flashcards on Quizlet? All of this constant review with time to forget in between will get you on these higher curves so you can't forget as much. Notice that when you're on these curves that are the 1 to 3rd time reviewing out here, this curve right here, you never really go below 80%. You can't really get a C if you review that 3rd time correctly. So that is the curve of forgetting, the rate of forgetting, which is make sure you have time to forget and then review. Time to forget and then review. All right, that concludes today's lesson. So what you're doing right now, just as a review, is you're going to Khan Academy and you're doing these lessons as you get the 100%, you're going back to your unit guide and entering if you got 100% or whatever. And again, don't type the percent, just the number.